where are you based, Gabrielle?
I am based in Malta, and I must admit I'm not a little bit innocent. I'm not innocent on Joseph's development. So we are both partners in crime, so to say.
Okay.
And the transition from, because we are constantly human becomings. We are not human beings. We are constantly in a state of becoming and transitioning. And I'm very, very happy to be part of the show, but also to be part in Joseph's mission, what he set out to do, because I feel it is, and what you are doing, Jonathan, I feel, because it is so very important to bring a holistic perspective.
So, Shireen, you mentioned in your introduction that you discover yourself and you rediscover yourself. So this gradient thing, what was your perspective? I didn't even know about this gradient. Did you?
Yeah. Well, I think I start to think about imposter syndrome as a spectrum as well, because everything is a spectrum, whereas the norm is determined mostly by culture, isn't it, really? So culture says this is what it is. A lot of people manage perfectly well, but there's quirks. Yeah. So it's when, and what beautiful thing that Gabrielle really put in there is, what do you do when something goes wrong? What's your reaction when something goes wrong? How are you held? How do you manage? And what happens to you in that situation? And really, that's probably how we got to live in the world. We have to know how to help people manage to be free and to be able to express themselves in the maximum of their potential that they can. And I think what's often happened, as Gabriella said, is we pinpoint, we put people into categories because it is easier, yes. But what happens is we lock them into categories, and we don't see the breadth and the depth and the unique differences or the unique genius of each human. And because we're unable to move out of our own mindsets, right? And so we're looking through this filter of whatever culture decides. I mean, I always remember a story where, in Africa, certainly a long time ago, is where most of the cultures, if you had children that were schizophrenic, they were seen as shamans, right? They were seen as shamans, and they were taken away. They were managed. They were helped. They were given a purpose. They were esteemed. And then what happened? We have people with schizophrenia, or we have them having, hallucinations. We all have hallucinations. When we talk to ourselves, we have hallucinations. We hear voices, all of us. We just don't choose to listen and discern, where's that voice coming from, right? So what happens is we automatically think someone is mad because they do something that's slightly different, because we're uncomfortable. And it's really about, how do we be comfortable with the discomfort and look to be curious about what this person brings and what this person is. Yeah.
Well, Andrew.
Yes.
When I was talking before we started recording, luckily, so it isn't on the recording, I asserted that I thought that neurodivergent brains were I did say better than neurotypical brains, and you challenged me and you said different. So this thing about you being a geologist. So, right. Asperger, like, you have to get this for me and for our viewers. As I understand, Asperger's is on the ASD spectrum, and things that I'm aware of is a real attention to detail, an amazing focus. You can sort of close out the whole of the world and just do a thing. Do you think that's how you ended up in geology?
Well, I can tell you exactly how I ended up in geology.
Please do.
I was 14 years old. We were picking our subjects to study for O-level at school. And we had 2 core subjects, which was maths and English, and you had 6 subjects to choose from. And I picked 5, and I had 1 left, and I didn't know what to pick. And one of my friends from my geography class, the geography class we were in, said, "You like volcanoes and mountains and rivers and things like that. Why don't you try geology?" So I looked at it and thought about it and went, "Geology? Well, maybe, sounds interesting." So I looked at it, it fitted in the timetable, and so I did geology. So I did geology at O level. I naturally did geology at A level. The people that I was with in my groups at school, friends, they sort of encouraged me, "Well, we're going to go on to do degrees. We're going to go to universities. What are you going to do?" And it wasn't a case of, what are you going to do in the sense of, are you going to go and get a job, or are you? But it was, we've just all done A levels together. What subject are you going to do for degree? And I fell into it, and I fell into doing a geology degree. At that point, I suddenly realized that actually I could call myself a geologist, and I quite enjoy what I do.